It has been a while. Welcome to the Gray Valley podcast where things get weird but stay fun. Today it is just me for a little bit. It's going to be a short one. Um, Hopefully we can get back into the stride of actually posting more of the Gray Valley podcast. But I just kind of wanted to really dive into talking about the Batman, even though it's been kind of a minute since it's been out, and I just want to say if I had to give it a rating, it would probably be an 8 out of 10. I'm not going to do any spoilers. I'm just going to touch on it briefly and then go on to the next subject. But the Batman's really good. Honestly, it's not diving into straight origin story of Bruce, but it's still there kind of. It's always there lingering over Bruce's whole identity. Now, everybody really says it's like a very emo movie. Kind of is, but for a good reason. I mean, for what happened to the character and how he progresses, especially in this movie, from being fear to being honestly justice. One of the best opening scenes to a Batman movie you'll ever see. Him actually um, just showing you how it feels to be a thug or just anybody that's a thief or a criminal, is what I mean. People are looking in the shadows and thinking that he's there even when he's not, and getting so terrified and they just run. I loved that aspect. The Riddler was pretty cool. I liked him better behind the mask compared to what they showed him to be. And I guess I will say little spoils. So it's kind of hard not to. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. If you haven't yet, what are you doing? Um, when they show him in Arkham, he kind of comes off weird. He's insane, of course, but you kind of see him as almost funny in a way. But all throughout of it, Selena Kyle, which is Catwoman, was great. Colin Farrell, which he's the Penguin, I absolutely loved. I hope his series comes fast with HBO Max. Loved seeing every second of him. He was actually really just so deep in his character that you just loved every second. He really is the Penguin that you think would be straight out of the comics. And yeah, Danny DeVito really made a good Penguin, but that one was just so disgusting and creepy compared to Colin Farrell's, which I really dug. The mobster guy, I'm forgetting his name. He was really cool too. I wish they would do more with him, even if it's kind of like a prologue to his whole setting of how he became a mob boss, and the little steps of the Wayne family that were involved before Bruce. That would be really fun to see. All in all, the story's great. The story's really great. I loved Robert Pattinson as Batman. He really felt like the Batman straight from the comics, especially year one. Even though he's on his second year in the movie, I really loved it. Loved it so much. The theme of it is great. The aesthetic of it is great, especially using Nirvana in it is really cool. Um, Definitely worth the watch. I see a lot of people comparing what's better between Spider-Man No Way Home and the Batman. Personally, I as much as I love Spider-Man, I really love the Batman movie compared. Now, No Way Home was amazing just because you get Toby and you get Andrew, which I loved. But I wish there was more to that movie. I wish there was a little bit more story to fill these little gaps that you wish there were there, like Goblin and Toby. I wish they have shown that there was going to be a fight with them. Um, that was deleted. And I know I'm jumping straight to No Way Home, but that's another one that I want to talk about, which is really good. But I'll go ahead and talk about that. If you haven't seen the Batman, go see the Batman. It's definitely worth it. 3 hours long. Definitely, there is parts that feel you do feel the length of it, which is it's good, but it's definitely a detective movie. It's not always just action, 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 which is great. Now, moving on. to No Way Home, it was great. I loved every second of it. I loved the old villains coming in. You didn't really see any of Tom's, which is disappointing. You think you would kind of like throw in Vulture just to have the full six, but now he's like in Morbius, which is fine, I guess. It is what it is. Which I'm still feeling weird about that movie, but we won't talk about that until it comes out. But I do wish there was more screen time of the two Spider-Man. I wish Goblin had more screen time, because he was such a great presence in that movie. Even when, spoiler, they Tom's Spider-Man and Goblin were fighting in that building. I mean, every second of it was amazing. Having William Defoe just take those punches laughing, it gave me chills in theaters. And just seeing my childhood Spider-Man back on screen was amazing. I wish they would do a fourth one. I mean, the audience is there. Um, Everybody has gotten older, but it's there. Um, Andrew really came out. Everybody's now seeing him as like a real. He shows Peter Parker antics, and just he fits that role so well. And Spider-Man, which I always was a fan of that one, and it sucks that people are just now liking him. But he was just always such a Peter Parker in Spider-Man. Yeah, I don't know why people didn't like him. Yeah, I guess it's like the drama parts of the movie, but both of them were really solid. Now, it did catch me off guard. Again, spoiler, that not Mary, shoot, Aunt May died. That was very unexpected, especially when she jumped up and she seemed like she was ready to go, and then she was bleeding out, which was very sad. Definitely changed Peter completely, especially when he had everybody forget who Spider-Man was on that planet, on Earth, of course, on their Earth, which was very very kind of like a brand new day type thing. But there's a lot of loopholes that I've seen people bring up and such. Um, that's a very good movie too. If you haven't seen it, it's on digital now. I absolutely love that movie. The art style is great. Posters that are coming out are like they're all right. The new ones are kind of cool, but it's just the art style. Let's see what else we could kind of tap into. That is movie wise. Morbius is coming out. There's a Craven the Hunter movie, and a lot of people are getting upset that Sony is spoiling Morbius and his two different endings. I am excited for this movie because we get Morbius. That's great. But also, it's just when it's connected to the Sony verse of Spider-Man, it gets kind of twisted and weird because they kind of know what they're doing, but kind of don't know what they're doing compared to Marvel. But it is what it is. You can't really do much about that. Let's see what else we have. Oh yeah, we had the Book of Boba, season 1, which was okay. You go into this series wanting the bounty hunter that you see in the comics. That is he's I don't want to say manly. He's very straightforward. He does the job because he wants the credits. He's just making a living. Um, he's very much like his father, but this season, it felt almost like he was there. There were some parts that were like, oh, cool, that he seems very badass. But then a lot of times, it's just almost like a doughboy situation where he's just kind of there to be nice, there to not be talked down to, but he's not really doing anything about it. You see, you would think Boba would defend himself more instead of just want peace. You think he would be more like a gangster almost, compared to like the he wants peace and everybody to live right type guy, even though he's taking over Jabba's palace. Definitely the different from the Boba that we seen in the original series compared to now. It's not bad completely, but the series did lack a lot. I mean, it had, I think, 2 episodes of purely just the Mandalorian, and those episodes were amazing. Every second of it was. It felt almost better than the Book of Boba series because you got these two, I think, just two episodes that were full on Mando, and it just felt like we're already in season 3. Just forget about Boba. Let's go straight into season 3 and just leave that behind because it felt like a completely different atmosphere. You had where it was almost like playful Book of Boba. We got some people fighting and some little things, and then you got the Mandalorian literally cutting people in half, and just he's getting a bounty and he's holding this man's head through the corridors, and it's just dripping blood. I mean, it was a completely different Book of Boba and just the Mando, and then you would just pick the Mando off of that just a couple minutes of the beginning of that episode. I would, at least. It really progressed season 3 of The Mandalorian compared to Boba, which was just like, how did we get here when we were, they want Mando to help them, but I mean, forget the show. Let's just go straight into season 3. I'm ready for this stuff instead. And then you see these characters called, I think they're the mods. They modify their body into like robotic parts, and they can do it for anybody, kind of like how Anakin or Luke have the robot hand. But these people are like bikers, like a biker gang, and they're all like very colorful, very very intended for kids. You can tell a lot of people are calling them like Power Rangers. Definitely the biggest downfall of Book of Boba was having those characters and gang in it. Without that group, the atmosphere of the show would have felt better. It would have felt less kiddish. I know Star Wars is made for kids, but there is a fine line of, well, we have this grown audience too, because a lot of people grew up with it, and they're grown now. They just didn't fit. I mean, everything they said was cheesy. There was one point where, I know Star Wars is kind of cringe sometimes, but with the one guy, though, I think was like right next to Chrysanthemum when he was like getting really hurt. He like does a spin and it shoots. I thought that was very cringy. I mean, it was some parts were cheesy. So I would rather The Mandalorian compared to the Book of Boba. I don't really want a season 2 just because of how much I enjoy The Mandalorian making Star Wars what it is now compared to Book of Boba, where it's like, what's happening right now? The Rancor was really cool too. Wish we would have got more out of that. The big droids were, in my opinion, kind of horrible. You could have had some better than these droids with big, bubbles. Very reminiscent of the old, not Battle Droid, Droid Deco, maybe? I can't remember the name, but the bubble shield, and there people are constantly shooting, but nobody is like understanding, we're not going to get through this like by shooting, so let's just stop and find a new tactic. It's just constantly running through the streets, shooting until here comes the Rancor, which you can just manhandle them. Definitely my least favorite was the robots and the mods. The show and all, rating wise, I give it like a 5 out of 10. You got Boba, wish you want more Boba always, but they could have at least made it better with the Boba himself. Because from season 1 or I think it's 2 of Mandalorian with Boba, he's just like slashing people, like stormtroopers and everything, to get his stuff back and armor back. A lot of this kind of fades a little bit. But compared to that, to the Book of Boba, even though I absolutely loved the Tusken Raider story with him. Loved that. That was amazing. If it would have just solely been a Tusken Raider building up Boba to be Boba again, I would have loved it. To overthrow Jabba's palace from Fortuna, I would have loved it. All right. Now, moving on to, like, there's so much. Hopefully, The Mandalorian season 3 will come back strong. With those 2 episodes from Book of Boba, man, it was just amazing. Hopefully, they come back soon. You know, it's such a great thing. Another show I have not watched was I haven't watched it yet is Peacemaker, which I hear are really good things about. Looks interesting. The Boys season 3 is coming out. They just dropped a trailer not too long ago, maybe like a week ago or so. Haven't even finished season 2. I was like halfway. Haven't really been enjoying it that much. It's definitely it's not as good as season 1, but that's like most things. Which I'm gonna have to like fight through that to watch that, and see what I could do. Really not do, but just see if I like it or not, just to get to season 3. Because then you got Jensen Ackles, which is joining as I forget what his name is, but I'm hoping that we get more out of the Boys too. I know there's a cartoon series. Didn't watch it. I haven't really touched up on it because I haven't really heard anything about it. It just was on HBO, and I never touched it, sadly. Shoot, what else? I know there's one more thing. The Halo series. I think like 2 days ago, maybe, they dropped the Halo series. Now, we know Halo. I absolutely love Halo. It's one of my top favorite games of all time. Even though Halo Infinite isn't doing that great right now, I'll touch up on that after I talk about the TV show. So, this TV show is non-canon. It's its own thing. It's its own universe. What is weird, though, is you have Chief, which kind of just doesn't give a fuck about civilians, it seems. I mean, the graphics are really cool. The actors are really cool and everything. Very promising first episode, kind of. But they haven't created Cortana. But it's also not just like an AI. It's like almost as if they are literally cloning Halsey, because she comes up to this tube that is Cortana, but it's a person. It's a full-on person that you could see. It's just a younger version of herself. So that is completely weird that the AI of Cortana is not even being created. It gets talked about, but then there's also the cloning of Halsey, which is Cortana as well. So I don't understand what they're going to do with that, or how that's going to work with Chief. The elites looked really cool. A lot of people were complaining about it because one looks like the Mass Effect character that's kind of like bulky alien. I don't know what's called. I'm not a Mass Effect fan. Played them, some of them. But I mean, they looked really good. They looked bulky. They looked menacing. I really liked it. What was really cool also in it was that the elites called Chief Demon in one point, and I really liked that. That was a cool nod. Sucked that we didn't get to see any grunts. Also, I wonder if there's going to be any grunts or any other ones. I'll have to come back to that. But what's kind of disappointing is that you got 20 years of the games, building up Chief and building this character. But the first episode of the Halo series, they take his helmet off. He has this Forerunner object, which is showing him the past, which I thought was a really cool idea. That, the UNSC is definitely taking you away from your family when you're younger. So now Chief has touched this object and it's bringing back memories that obviously the UNSC is definitely trying to get away from you and trying to keep away from you. So you don't remember that, and you're just purely a weapon and a machine. That's a cool take. I like that. But him just taking off his helmet and just staring at it, and then this woman, and it doesn't feel like Chief anymore. It just feels like a different Spartan, which I wish they would have not even, if that's the case of what they're doing, I wish they would have not even brought Chief into this and just had him be a random Spartan in Silver Team, because then it would feel better, because you're like, oh, this is a cool Spartan that's taking off his helmet. You get to actually go one-on-one with this person, feel what he's feeling. But when you have Chief doing this stuff, there's 20 years of these people that are playing these games that he's not taking off his helmet, other than like a cutscene. And I think CE doesn't show his face though, so you're always wondering and wondering and wondering. but he just takes it off, and you're just like, this isn't the Chief I know. I don't know. It feels like a completely different Spartan. It I guess you could say it feels like a chief that is very not new to this, but still learning everything. So being stern and then seeing his past, he's like, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? These people are obviously controlling me and only want me as a weapon. So I'm gonna take this by my own standard of trying to be who I want to be. It's kind of hard to explain. I guess that is more of like a chief thing at the end where he's like, instead of doing what you want me to do, I'm doing what's right to me, and then he leaves. So I gotta wait till episode two, which some I think streamers and YouTubers and whatnot have gotten to see the first two episodes together, so they got the second one unlocked somehow. But that's also a good first episode to a series if you think of it as like a complete, which it is, a complete separate thing, like their own Halo, which is cool that you have this little fresh little start that you can do, and that some people can just come into the Halo series and see what they like. You know, you got the games, which aren't for everybody, and then you got the show, which a lot of people can watch. So that's a good thing. Trying to think of other media that I've watched and entertainment. I mean, let's think of a good one. Okay. So you got Dexter New Blood. Okay. So I am an extremely big fan of Dexter. I love Dexter. I mean, this is like my top favorite show of all time. Um, they came out with a brand new end season to end it all, supposedly. Now you got Dexter. He has a new life. He has a new girlfriend that's a cop. You got his little town that he's working at, like a little hunting store, selling weapons and whatnot. He's trying to get away from his past. He's trying not to let the dark passenger out again. Well, he you know inevitably he ends up letting it out again. You know, this guy shoots a white albino deer, which is very rare, you know, and that kind of ticks him off. The guy already fit his kind of role. The guy has supposedly killed people by wrecking a boat. I'm pretty sure it was. So once he has shot the deer while Dexter was not really hunting, but kind of just going out. Because I don't remember if he actually killed any, you know, deer. Well, while he's out there, the guy kills the white deer, and then Dexter just hits him in the face with the gun. Takes him out, brings him back, and does what he usually does. So now this brings out a whole big search of this individual, and that's not all though. His dad, the guy that Dexter killed, is a murderer as well. He takes off takes off. He takes these women that you know they're just kind of I guess they're going from their home or trying to go to their home by just kind of like asking for trips or getting money to go to where they need to go that's far away, but sometimes they run out of money, so they're stranded at that diner that his dad works at, and he gives them a job and then gives them a place to stay at this cabin that's kind of far away. That's not his actual home, and but it's beneath the house. So it's this setup where he takes them down, lets them get comfortable. There's a camera up in the corner, and then he watches them, but locks the door through like a mechanism where they can't get out. But after that, his whole like kind of drug, how Dexter likes to wrap them up, cut them up, and everything, and then show them what they've done. This guy, he lets them go with nothing, like barely any clothes on, and lets them run away. And he has a white, like winter mask on, with like hunting gear, and then he just snipes them. Really, like as they're running away, he kind of hunts them. But every time it's just kind of like they run away, and then he shoots them. And then in that same area, he like dresses them up all pretty and stuff, and like showcases them in uh, this corridor. Um, underground. But I'm going to focus on throughout the series. It's great. It's Dexter. You wish there was more killing. You know, his son pops up, Harry, and you're like, okay, this is taking a he's going to hand him the torch of the Dark Passenger, which is there, but not all the way. He's tempted, but not all the way. But I'm gonna focus on the ending because if you're a Dexter fan, you've watched it, and I highly recommend it. Even the old the old seasons, it's amazing. Don't watch this as like as you can jump into this and watch Dexter and know what's going on. You need to watch the original series. Um, my main problem with this ending, I would definitely take the old ending compared to this. The way the way Dexter was caught, it's all falling apart, and he's kind of like a cornered animal. He does things that Dexter wouldn't usually do, especially when he was in the cop station and he kills the black guy, and then he gets out. It's just a lot of stuff didn't feel like Dexter. I know you're cornered. This is basically it. This is all you can do. This is probably the last place you're gonna go get away. I wish I'm forgetting his name right now. The cop that was still in Miami. I can't remember his name. Either way, it's a he was a chief. I'm pretty sure at one point. He's coming down to wherever Dexter was. He wants to investigate because he found out Dexter's alive through the Dexter's cop girlfriend. He's shocked, but by the time Dexter gets to his son shoots Dexter as basically like, I'm ending this. This is all your fault. But you never get to see him actually come. I wish you could have saw him come and actually confront Dexter because that would have mean that you see this man that used to be your friend when you're in forensics, and there's so much story that there's so much time that's passed, and you're just two are like, wow, this is really happening. You aren't dead, but also you are a killer. It's just the grieving process of what he probably went through compared to like Dexter, leaving it behind, and that there could have been such a good moment there, but it was so rushed to where Dexter's kid Harry shoots him, and then it's just like, well, what about him? Why didn't we get to see that? Why didn't we get to see a little bit of Miami come back to Dexter to kind of bite him in the ass and just be like, we thought it was you, but we thought you were dead, and and it was just like that was a missed opportunity, which I hope you know they do continue it through Harry in a way. I don't know, or do like Lost Years of Dexter because they showed some stuff like flashbacks of Dexter. Like it was cool, but definitely a missed opportunity. I rather the old ending compared to the new. Everything in that the show New Blood was good up until the ending. A lot of stuff that felt rushed, missed opportunities everywhere. That's what sucked to me the most. Big fan of Dexter though. I highly recommend that series. It's such a good thing. It's it's a great show, honestly. Um, that's one of my recs. I almost forgot to talk about Halo Infinite. I jumped right to Dexter and forgot about Halo Infinite. Now, this is it's sad that this game this game that um I'm trying to figure out like the words. The game that I've personally been waiting for since Halo 5. I love Halo 5 campaign not so much. But the multiplayer I loved. But what's disappointing is that the game started off strong. You went into multiplayer and you had the campaign. Campaign's all right, compared to what it used to be. I finished it. I liked it. The chief story is there, but you feel like you went from 5 to 7, and there's just so much that they could have shown, even if I guess they could do DLCs if they even plan to. They just went from 5, what feels like, to to 7 because there's so much story. You get like a little bit of a cutscene at the beginning of Chief losing, and then you just kind of like, well, we're here now. What happened? I don't know. Go listen to some audio tapes. That'll find out. You find dead Spartans. They got little stories, but you never get to see anything about it. I wish we could have got some cutscenes to actually show, or just have the whole fucking campaign show you what happened. You know, had it revolve around Chief knowing what happened and being a part of what happened, instead of just kind of having the ring and you're like, what happened? The banish is taking over. Let's get rid of the banish in this one area, even though the fucking ring is huge. Hopefully they do DLC that goes all the way around the ring, that you clear the bitch out, that progresses the story over the next couple of years. But that's a whole other thing. Multiplayer is my main reason I want to talk about this. I am a big fan of Halo. Like I said, it's the one of the best games I've ever played. Not Infinite, but Halo in general. It's one of the top games of all time, in my opinion. But the multiplayer is sort of a letdown. The season pass has completely changed from what it was supposed to be, what they advertised. It's completely changed. And it sucks that it did, because it has so much potential. You were supposed to get the Tenrai armor in the season pass, but there is really no customized ability to your Spartan. You know, they advertised that you could do any color you wanted. It was so broad, and then once you actually play it, it's very very little that you could do to your Spartan, and it's not really you customizing your Spartan. It's already a preset color with different variations in it, and it sucks. But some of them look good, some of them don't. The customized, to your Spartan is not that great. You feel like everybody else, unless you're actually spending money in the shop, which is one of the biggest reasons why this Halo doesn't feel like a Halo. Their greed has gotten to them with the shop, and the game is lackluster. Yes, you have events. That's cool. They last so long, and this is my biggest issue. Once you complete the battle pass to 100, you had much so much you had to wait so much longer for season 2, which isn't even out. There's like 34 days. So if you don't have an event going on and you are playing and your battle pass is complete and there is no event, all your XP goes nowhere. You don't level up, you don't get anything. It's worthless. That's my biggest gripe, because they could have done, and this is bad. It's not bad because I like Fortnite, but they could have done what Fortnite did. If they wanted to really do this season pass bullshit that every other fucking game does, they could have still had the shop. That's cool. Exclusive gear. That's all right. We didn't need the season pass. Okay, we needed what Reach did, but you level up, buy your own fucking gear. Level up and get whatever you want. Grind it out. We didn't need a season pass. But it's like you don't feel like a different Spartan unless you buy shit, and that's coming from experience. I've bought armors just to feel fucking different from other people, because the season pass has only so much customizable things for you to do and look like. But they should have done, back to the point, they should have done what Fortnite did, where you had a season pass, and then if people complete it too quick, or they actually grind it, they had a extra thing to the season pass that is like even better stuff sometimes. So like if Fortnite, for example, like they um did the Spider-Man skin. So you had this the regular Spider-Man, red and blue. You had the Foundation. You had the Symbiote. And then if you completed it, if you grinded it out that quick, you had these different versions which were shiny. You had a gold version, you had a blue version, red version. They could have done that with your Spartans. That they could have had extra armor variations, that for these people that play this game, that play your game over and over and over and want more out of it. Give them more. Why is it so stale? After a little bit, they added more game modes, which it still sucks because all the challenges, if you completed everything, are fucking useless. You don't get anything out of it other than just another game, which you should enjoy playing the game, but you should also be able to progress something instead of just feeling like you're wasting your time doing nothing. There's not a lot of maps, which suck. Um, Most of them are not that great, unless you're on SWAT. Some of them are pretty fun. Fiesta sucks. When they do the 10 right, that's all they use, which is fucking ass. Um, but yeah, there needs to be more content, and it just feels like if feels like they don't care, or they're just sitting on it. And hopefully, season 2 is better. But if it is going to be another season of like Reach, which we've been on since MCC, eh, hopefully it's longer the season. Not like lengthwise of how long it lasts, but the actual stuff you can unlock is longer and better. And then these events are managed better because the challenges suck sometimes, and they make you feel like you gotta just waste 100 hours just to get through it. Um, at this point, I haven't been playing a lot of it just because it's not that fun right now. It doesn't feel like a Halo. It just feels like a money grab, and that's sad because Halo 5 was good. Halo 4 was pretty good, decent, multiplayer wise. Reach was phenomenal. But if they need to really fucking like go back and rework Infinite, go to the Reach route of the armor and everything, but still have the fucking store. It's free to play. Let people grind it out and then still buy shit. It just makes no sense. But that is this week's Gray Valley. I don't know how frequent the podcast will be. Whenever like new stuff comes out, I'll probably do like little updates on the Master Chief or the Halo TV series and other series. Just let me know if you guys want me to check out games or TV shows, and I'll let you know a review. But this was the topic of this podcast, was kind of like movies and games, my thoughts. And yeah, movies. I said I don't know why I thought I didn't, but those are my opinions on that stuff for this week. I don't know when the next one's going to be out, unless more content comes soon for games and movies. Um, I'm working on more topics for the Gray Valley. Maybe people will be with me next time, maybe not. Um, but this was the Gray Valley podcast where things get weird but stay fun. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you do, leave a like and share it, please.